what we're doing. Let me tell you what we're doing today. Today we are doing a coolant flush on this 2014 Tiguan. So, how do I know what to do? I went to my local library online. I have access to the Chilton Library, so check that out if you don't. So, here's what we got to do for the Tiguan. It seems pretty simple. First thing, we got to take out just a single bolt, which I'm just going to use this Torx 30 little hand tool. Then we're going to remove these coolant lines, and we're going to let the coolant drain. Guys, I just got old, cheap hand tools. I'm trying to build tool sets as I go. I'm going to just use these vice grips. Okay. Guys, do yourself a favor and head over to Amazon and get you a set of these hose clamp pliers. It will save you tons of time. And we're going to undo this clamp and this clamp, and I guess this clamp too. And we're just going to let all the coolant drain here. So let's get started. This little Torx 30 screw. I guess that stays in, guys, so it's not going to, oh, no it doesn't. Comes out. There we go. Alright, get that one off. This one's kind of being the son of a bitch. There we go. There we go. Check something. Be sure to make sure that our reservoir cap is off. That way, you get the air in there to make sure it drains. I'm a little nervous about putting these vice grips on this hose. I'm gonna put me just a little towel on there, because the problem is that thing is tight. It won't break loose. Needs a little wiggle. There we go. There it goes. Hey! Now we got it off. You see there, guys? This is what happens when you're just a bumbling home mechanic. But you just stay patient, and you learn something along the way. You get better. There we go. Hose number one. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's coming out of there everywhere on me. Well, we've got some lines here for us to line this sucker up on. This is just slide this sucker back on all the way up. This goes. There we go. Got that one on there. Let's see these. These work the best. Alright, I'm gonna bolt this sucker, move it back up over here. Put my 230 in. We're gonna get distilled water, guys. This is gonna be our flush. Alright, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start it up and let the water pump the water into the system. So let's start it up. We're also going to turn the heater on. Open up the heater. Full blast. That way we're going to get things moving through the heater core. You see it bleeding out here. More water in there. And we're going to let it get up to temperature. Hopefully it's going to flush this sucker out. Alright, so we're holding good temperature. We've got heat blowing, which means that the water's running through the heater core. So that's good. So I'm just gonna let it run for a couple more minutes and then we're gonna drain out the water. I want to be sure to recycle this old antifreeze, so I'm pouring it in this bottle to take to my recycling center. Alright guys, so we're gonna rinse and repeat. We're gonna remove the T30 to get the pump loose. Then we're going to remove the clamps and the hoses and drain out the water. Also, you would be sure to wait like 30 minutes after you've gotten the car up to temperature before you drain it. I waited about 15 here and the water was quite hot. Look how nasty that thing is. So I think I'm gonna pull this thing out and clean it too. Let's do that. So my battery went out on my camera, so I didn't get pulling this off, but basically you got some little two T20 bolts. You got 2 hose clamps, an upper and a lower, and this clip, and then the reservoir will come right out. And I basically just pulled the reservoir out and mixed some distilled water in there and shook it around and drained it out, and I got most of the sediment, but I had to do that a couple times. Here it comes. Here it comes. So, I'm just gonna let it drain. Put these hoses back on. I'm gonna measure what we got. Let's get this hose back on. This is hard. Laying on my side, hold my head off the ground. It's not very comfortable. There we go. Alright, let's move this. Uh-oh. 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 Look at that. Got it on the second try. Alright, got that one. Alright guys, so when you put your distilled water in, you're going to want to make sure what the directions say in the service manual is to run for about 3 minutes, around 2,000 RPMs, until it gets up to temperature. You can see here we're up to temperature. And you can also see that I've got the heat blowing wide open, so you want to make sure your heat is, that's going to allow the coolant to run through the heater core. So we've got it up to temperature, we're running a little bit, we got the heat going, so that's got the coolant flushing, or the water in there flushing out the coolant system, which I'm surprised how dirty it was. So I thought I was done with my flushing, but I decided, I don't know, why not do one more. If you look at this up against the sunlight, you can see all of the sediment that is still, I guess, coming out of the coolant system, which I don't know, I've never done this before. I guess that's normal, not normal, I don't know, but I'm just going to try to get it as clean as I can. So maybe one more, but you can see how it's getting a little clearer each time we do the flush. So we're going to hit it with another flush. It's up to temperature, so I'm going to let it cool down. Okay, so I think we're ready now. We've flushed, I think, 4 flushes, and that's pretty clear. So I've looked at the fluid capacity chart, and it says we got 8 liters, which is 2 gallons. So I got a gallon of distilled water that's in the system, right? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the concentrate. This is a gallon, so this should basically fill it up, and that would put me at roughly 50-50. I don't think we need to go to below we're not going to go to Fahrenheit below 90 degrees, so we'll be good. We'll be good here at negative 34 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't think we're going to get colder than that. So basically, I'm just going to fill this thing up with the concentrate, and that should dilute it out, since assuming I've got a gallon in there. I'm going to show you one other thing I'm going to add to this. This is something that a friend of mine recommended. BG cooling system sealer as a preventative maintenance. The directions are basically really shake this thing up, and you're supposed to put it directly into the radiator, but Volkswagen, they don't have a radiator cap. It's going to do like a quarter of this. So since this is just sort of maintenance, I'm just going to pour just like a quarter of this bottle in with the coolant. So just in case, I mean, we got 90-something thousand miles on this car, and it's just going to hopefully be a little preventative measure. So shaking, shaking, shaking. So the color of this looks so different to what was in there before. Makes me wonder if this had the original coolant in it or something else. It's like orange. This is like pink. Very pink. So it just kind of drains slowly down in there. Alright, so I'm going to put a little more of this in the bowl. Get a little bit of my BG. I'll strain it pretty fast. Get my BG ready. Really shake it. And we're got the BG ready. Just want that to mix in with this as it goes in, so we're going to kind of do both here. And that's about all of the BG I'm going to put. All of the BG in there. Where it's staying there on the mint, I'm going to go ahead and start the car, get the water pump rolling, get this stuff circulating. And again, we're going to make sure we got our heater going full steam. Make sure the heater on. Oh yeah. Sucked it right down. Got another liter of this to go. I'm pretty sure what I read was I want it to be right here. This is where I want the line to here. 3.2 liters give us 40% antifreeze. 4 liters will give us 50% antifreeze. So slowly fill the coolant up to the upper marking and the hatched area on the expansion tank. Upper marking, that's right where we are. We run it 2,000 RPM for 3 minutes, which I think we're trying to get the radiator fan. So let's just, oops. Our heater is working, guys. So part of the test drive is obviously moving the wife's car out of the way. Oh, look, it's nice. She's out of battery and she's out of gas. Why is that not a surprise? So, and then I'll go get gas for her and plug the car in, as that's what we do. Alright, so let's go for a test drive. Got her down off of the blocks. We got ready to go. Got the heater on. Let's make sure this baby holds temperature, and I think this is a good idea because we just assumed we got that gallon of distilled water in there, so we need to run it to make sure it gets mixed in with the coolant. Let's see where we want to go. We just go around the block here. Alright, here we go. So this might be a little more than what's needed, but I just put it in the sport where I can control the gears, so this way I can drive slow and keep it at a high RPM. That way I can really test out and make sure that we're nice and stable on our coolant temperature. So far everything looks good. Heat's definitely still blowing. Alright guys, so came out here this morning and the coolant level dropped down here to the minimum, so I'm going to fill it up to right here. I think is where it's supposed to be when the engine is cool, and then when it warms up it's supposed to come up to here. So I'm going to fill it up to the top of the hatched area, and I think we're going to call this a job done. You know, I was talking all that bad stuff about Volkswagen, but tell me if this doesn't make sense. Now they're supposed to be known for their engineering, attention to detail. So after you drain, after you're flushing it, and you drain, you get about a gallon of fluid that drains. So basically I flushed it and drained and then hooked all the hoses back up, and I poured the 1 gallon. This is the coolant that I use, the G12 coolant from Volkswagen, and it's 1 gallon. And so I poured that whole thing in there, and it's supposed to come to the top of this hatch, or be in that hatched area, to the top of the hatch to be correctly filled. And look at that. So maybe it's possible that they actually were pretty intelligent in how they engineered that, because once you flush it, the right amount of fluid is still left in the system to add 1 gallon of concentrate to put it right where it's supposed to be. Now, I don't know if that's the case. Maybe you do. Let me know if I'm right or if I'm wrong.